Yeah, guys, it's me, Ntla. Welcome back again to my YouTube channel. Yeah, I think this is the last video that I'll be doing. Then it's, maybe some I'll make them tomorrow. So here's another issue that we have in this country of the mainstream media. We know, guys, the kind of mainstream media that we have, the mainstream media that we still have in the country up until today. So that's why, guys, if maybe in this country people had like many people, millions of people, maybe some of the people who are living in poverty have this like the whole maybe like the whole country, maybe whether it's maybe people who are staying in informal settlements or people who are staying in the villages or other places to have access to what you call this internet, you know so that when these platforms like YouTube and others, that's when, guys, you can be watching and maybe like seeing, like watching everything about these issues that are happening in the country, you know, that are happening in the country, because you see this issue of the mainstream media that we have here in the country that lies to the people of this country, defend politicians, the same mainstream media that was criticizing Mkhwanazi, General Mkhwanazi, and other issues. So this topic that we are discussing about is this issue of the mainstream media lying to the citizens of this country, because I have this video of this guy, Ronaldo, I don't know, yeah, something, if you know Ronaldo. Yeah, like, guys, if you know this guy, maybe this guy on maybe if you guys follow his, what you call this, YouTube channel, just go to his YouTube channel. Yeah. So let's just listen to what this guy is saying about the mainstream media lying to the citizens of this country. Then we'll discuss.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Ronaldo here. So, this video is going to focus on why mainstream media is lying to you about the Trump South Africa situation. Because if you look at the past couple of days since President Donald Trump came out and said that all future aid to South Africa and other African countries will be stopped whilst they do investigations, mainstream media has come out and not only defended the ANC and the GNU, but they've defended acts that can literally destroy this country. And this is the same media outlet.
Me, guys, I wouldn't be surprised about these people defending politicians and other things, because, guys, you can even look at the problems that are happening in the country. Many things that happened, many things that destroyed the country. I wouldn't be surprised about when it comes to this mainstream media thing that we have in South Africa up until today, guys. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
That were very vocal about expropriation without compensation and the Expropriation Act and the Bella Act and all of these destructive acts that could destroy South Africa. So they were vocal when it was their opinions. But the moment that Donald Trump steps in and says, it's not right, pretty much in essence agreeing with what the journalist had to say initially, they now are making him out to be an idiot, and somebody that doesn't know what he's talking about. Yet he is in essence saying what they said about the same policies. Now, there's clearly a dedicated attack on Donald Trump, but also on AfriForum in South Africa. Now, I'm not going to go into that because you've probably already seen it, and if you haven't seen it, go and check out my earlier videos on that, and you will see how mainstream media first went for a civil rights organization in South Africa called AfriForum. And then when they saw that was not going to land, now they just focusing solely on Donald Trump and attacking him for, in essence, doing the right thing, saying that I'm not going to give a country money from the United States and from the United States taxpayers when they are not
So this whole thing of people maybe I don't know attacking Donald Trump, guys, how is this thing gonna help when it comes to indeed? Do you think this whole thing of people attacking Donald Trump, how is this thing gonna help the country, guys? Because you can look at the problems up until today. We still talk about problems every day that are happening in the country. So instead of us being focusing on these problems that are happening in South Africa, leave this whole thing of Donald Trump there in America. But instead, what is happening, guys?
Adhering to an AGOA agreement about property rights, and they have race-based laws in their country.
Because that's why maybe I think I was even watching the other one in the morning of Citizens Consent Katlego, you know, when we were talking about, can't you watch what she's saying? What did she say? Yeah, talking the fact that you can see Donald Trump, the issues there in America, dealing with the issues that are happening there in America, and many more. Like you can see with Donald Trump is focusing on the issues that are happening there in his country in America. You know, that's why many people chose to vote for what you call this for Donald Trump. You know, to be dealing with this issue of illegal immigrants and other things. You know, that's why. But here but when it comes to Ramaphosa, many issues that are happening here in the country. What is Ramaphosa doing? Instead, Ramaphosa doesn't care, and Ramaphosa decides to ignore all of these issues, and the rest of the politicians to ignore all of these issues of illegal immigrants, crime, poverty. Look at our infrastructure. Look at many things, guys, that are happening in South Africa. Then tomorrow, this whole thing of Sona, what, State of the Nation address. And this time around, what is it that Ramaphosa is going to say? But guys, that's not the topic. I've covered the topic there on my other video that I've made. And guys, yeah, please, guys, I still say please donate to my channel. The descriptions are there below, even on the comments, guys. Please donate so that I can, yeah. Without you guys, yeah, please, without your guys' support, yeah. If you can just donate to any amount that you guys like feel like you want to donate, I would really appreciate, guys. Yeah, maybe even subscribe to my channel. Then let's proceed.
That are discriminating against minorities in South Africa. Now, I'm not going to go into reconciliation and previously disadvantaged because that will be an hour discussion. But 31 years into our democracy, we should have been a lot further at uplifting the poorest of the poor and those affected negatively by apartheid. We haven't, and that is completely the ANC's fault.
And when we guys be talking about these 31 years of democracy, the next year's elections will be saying 32 years of democracy. And me, guys, to tell you the truth, it seems like in this country, we are not in it. We are not in what you call this democratic republic of this country. Like we are not in democracy. This democracy thing, guys, it seems like we haven't exercised this democracy. Because, guys, if we were really in this thing of democracy, ANC would be the one party that should have been removed long time ago, Then maybe just elect a new leader, new ministers, new mayors, new councillors, and all sorts of people if we're really in democracy, because it seems like right now, up until today, in this country, guys, we are living in a circus. Like, guys, we're living in a circus straight. These clowns who are running this country, like, guys, they've run this country into what you call this, like, they've destroyed everything. Like, guys, the country up until today, guys, it's a shithole. Like, guys, we're in a shithole. Shithole. Like, hey.
You will not be able to change my mind on that. If it was 5 years into a democracy, I will completely understand that it's not the government's fault. But over 3 decades later, the majority of people that were poor during apartheid are still poor,
Mm.
even though there were trillions of rands available to uplift them and put them into a middle class economic bracket and to provide a job. However, this didn't happen. So, once again, like I always say, where does the failure of the new government begin and where does blaming apartheid end?
And yes,
That is the question that we need to ask, and the government will never ever answer it.
they will
But to
never.
get back to the point of mainstream media in South Africa now focusing on attacking Donald Trump and making him out to be an idiot, can be seen by South Africa's most prominent journalists and the media houses. So, so as you can see here, Peter de Tooy says the US president, clearly advised by Elon Musk, really has no idea what he's talking about. The post-truth world of disinformation and misinformation will hit us hard. Well, it's led by you because the Expropriation Act clearly states that no compensation can happen, and if it's in the public interest and if it's for public purpose, it can happen. And those two things aren't defined clearly. So there's no misinformation. I also find it so hilarious that these journalists think that Donald Trump didn't have a team that investigated South Africa's policies before making comments. And I will explain now because one of the commentators, let's actually go to her, another journalist that is respected in South Africa, but once again is clearly spreading misinformation, is saying the fact that a world leader seems to be relying on fake Facebook posts to make decisions about an entire country is pretty terrifying, actually. The Expropriation Act says no compensation, which means expropriation without compensation. He's right. Secondly, there are 142 race-based laws currently in South Africa, which is factual. So there's discrimination happening in South Africa. So what exactly is President Donald Trump lying about? And added to that, what information or what facts do you have where he relied on fake Facebook posts? Can you provide your information and your research?
Evidence.
You are going off of what and you are assuming that this is what happened and you're trying to portray it as fact. This is like a award-winning journalist that is making this statement. And do you honestly believe that this should be trusted over something that President Donald Trump has said? I mean, it is absolutely absurd. Here's another one, News 24, the biggest news outlet in South Africa, if not Africa, is saying there are no records of expropriation without compensation by South Africa's democratic government. Not yet. Well, in actual fact, there is one. I believe it's the case of Ackerman, in which the land was taken by the government. They also continue, and the recently signed expropriation bill includes safeguards, even under its no compensation clauses. Oh, great, thank you. So I need to focus here. So you are telling me that, hey guys, the Expropriation Act that we spoke about, for years, that will be destructive, and we had so many opinion pieces that we got so many clicks and ad revenue on, where we said that this would completely destroy South Africa. Ignore that, Now we're going to jump on the anti-Trump bandwagon, and we're going to trust the ANC government that has literally destroyed every single state-owned enterprise in this country, has made South Africa poorer, has caused a higher unemployment rate, a higher crime rate. We are going to trust these individuals to not expropriate without compensation unjustly. Like, how insane and absurd is that not? Especially that News 24 is very well aware of how corrupt the ANC government is. And the GNU government, clearly being led by the ANC, should let alarm bells go off because they passed the Bella Act, they passed the Expropriation Act, and they are on their way to pass the NHI Act. The three most destructive policies that is currently facing South Africa since we became a democracy. But yeah, News 24 is telling you, hey guys, don't stress about it. The ANC is controlling it and everything will be fine.
ANC is controlling what?
How can you trust mainstream media when they are telling you lies that you should trust the ANC government?
You can't.
I mean, it's absolutely absurd.
You can't.
Another one.
You can't. How is
Are
that
you tired
possible,
of your
guys?
YouTube channel not getting the attention it
How
deserves?
doesn't
Building
make
a
sense?
YouTube channel can be
I
a
don't
very
understand.
lucrative and successful way to make new fans or sell your product or service. But
Like,
without
guys,
the proper YouTube promotion, your channel
you see, hey. But what can you say?
Another one from News 24 that says, opinion. Donald Trump's statements about South Africa follows an intensive campaign waged over many years by AfriForum, writes Peter du Toit. Once again, Peter du Toit. No, actually, in actual fact, if you go and look at who was the biggest and most vocal critic of this, it was the DA. From 2020, they ran 2 election campaigns against the Bella Bill, against the expropriation bill, and against the NHI bill. And they allowed petitions, they had public meetings, and instead of focusing actually on the political party that spread this across the world, you are focusing on a civil rights organization, trying to discredit them in some weird way to support the ANC and to defend expropriation without compensation in South Africa. I mean, the mainstream media truly is very special in this country. And then the last one by the big boss man himself, Adrian Basson. He says, US President Donald Trump will soon realize that South Africans don't like people spreading lies about us. Here we still deal with facts, right, Adrian Basson? The same Adrian Basson in the same News 24 that accused Jan Braai of being racist a couple of months ago. And then when they realized, oh, the video that they saw was not the full picture and that in actual fact he wasn't racist, they apologized behind a paywall on News 24. So, Adrian, I will sit this one out if I were you, with all due respect. Everything that Donald Trump has said as to why the aid is being stopped is correct. The Expropriation Act is terrible for South Africa.
Obvious.
No compensation can take place, which means expropriation without compensation. And it's not just land, it's property. It's movable and immovable property.
Obvious. Maybe like this country will be like Zimbabwe 2.0. Like remember with Robert Mugabe there in ZANU PF. Land expropriation without compensation. Obvious. 2.0.
So your firearm, your watch, your car, your favorite DVD of The Notebook, I don't know, anything they can take if it's in the public interest or if it is for public purpose. Very vague. Is this really the hill that mainstream media wants to die on? Like, truly, is this what mainstream media in South Africa wants to focus on and blame the USA, even though it's the taxpayers' money in the United States? It's still worth something. You know, in South Africa, the tax bracket, I believe, is between 18% and 46%. Now, think about that for a second. If you fall into the 31% tax bracket, that means 31% of the time that you work in a year, that money, you don't get a cent from that. That money all goes to the government, and that then leads to them having to provide services and implement policies that improve South Africa for everybody. Yet we have 140 race laws that discriminate against white, colored, and Indian people. They want to start a 100 billion rand transformation fund, and all that money is going to come from taxpayers, and they exclude white, colored, and Indian people. It's just absurd. So the question I have is, do you get bang for your buck as a taxpayer? You know, if you are on a 31% tax bracket, that means 4 months out of the year, you are literally working for the government. You're not working for yourself and enriching yourself. You are working for the government. 4 months. It's absurd. So January, February, March, and April, you are working for the government. And then from the 1st of May, hey, that's when you can get your money. That is technically how it is. And if you're at 45, 46%, good luck to you. So almost half of the year, you start getting paid in July. It's absolutely absurd. So the taxpayers in the United States, there is no responsibility on them to fund issues in other countries. But yet the United States have done it for many, many years, And of course, the ANC took credit for it. Majority of people probably didn't know that the United States were funding South Africa to the tune of 8.6 billion rand a year.
Oh, it's a lot of money.
But the ANC, you know, the same ones that talk ill about the West and their supporters that attack the West, they are all now suddenly shocked. How dare the US government withhold their taxpayers' money that they send to South Africa? The quality of money that South African taxpayers get for their bang for their buck in South Africa versus the United States is just on two different scales. But the media over here in South Africa decides, no, you know, whatever Donald Trump is doing is wrong automatically. We're not even going to
The media of this
look
country is
into it.
useless.
We're not going to actually go and read the
Mr.
Expropriation Act. We are just going to attack Donald Trump because, hey, there's enough people in this country that hate Donald Trump and hate the West, and that will get us clicks, that will get us ad revenue, so that, you know, we can keep the doors open and still employ some journalists to talk cuck about South Africa and talk cuck to South Africans. It is insane. The biggest advice that I can give you is stop listening to what mainstream media has to say. There are diamonds in the rough. There are great sort of smaller media houses. One of them is Politics Web. They're not paying me, but I love Politics Web because they just give you the news. They give you the news without opinions. I don't know when the sudden change happened where news became news through my opinion. You know, like Adrian Basson and Peter de Toy and Corin Morn, that is literally not giving you the news as a neutral person. They're giving you news through their worldview. I don't know when that has changed, but that is why we are not getting factual news anymore, because it's through the lens of somebody. Now, when you watch my channel, you know who and what I am, and you know what type of news you're going to get. You know, so take it with a pinch of salt. However, it's quite clear that mainstream media that does this for a job, that is supposed to abide by the press code, is literally every single article is an opinion piece, but it's not labeled an opinion piece. It's labeled as news that's factual and is not based on any biases of the journalists. It's absurd, absolutely absurd. So biggest takeaway here is, please stop getting your news from mainstream media alone. I mean, I understand that, you know, you have to get some news from them, but when it comes to topical issues where it's their opinion, which is most of the time, get another source. It doesn't have to be me.
Rubbish.
Just
Those
make
are
sure
rubbish.
you get your source from your news from someplace else too, so that the two can balance each other out. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to subscribe. Please be sure to smash that like button. Please be sure to share this video far and wide, because that's literally the only way my message gets out there. And then if you enjoy my channel and you would like to support me, you can become a member to this channel. It'll cost you.
Yeah, this is this is the issue of mainstream media lying to the people of this country. You know, if it will be better if people had access to internet, or maybe this data prices, that this issue of data prices that we have here in the country maybe go down. That's where people like can have, like, you know, it's like some information from YouTube, not from this mainstream media whatsoever, defending politicians, lying, and all sorts of things, guys. Yeah. Okay, guys, this is the video for today. Please do comment, like, and subscribe, and also donate to my channel. Yeah, if you get time, guys, please watch my other previous videos that I've made, and please, guys, tell me on the comments. I would love to read your guys' comments and hear your guys' comments about, you know, the issues here in the country. And I will see you. Yeah. Bye, guys.